a game that holds a lot of weight this week that not a lot of people are necessarily talking about, right? Because the Commanders, they're a half game back of the Seahawks for the last NFC wildcard spot, and the Falcons are right behind them at a game and a half back, Tank. How do you feel like this one plays out? Because the Commanders playing pretty good with Taylor Heinicke under center.
Yeah, this game's going to be competitive as hell. When you look at it, the Washington defense has been playing really good ball. I was actually surprised how they shut down Dameon Pierce. Like, that dude was able to run the ball on most teams that he faced, yet the Commanders just stuffed him last week. We already know what they're doing on offense. They run the ball effectively. Heinicke didn't have just amazing stats. The wide receivers didn't make that many splash plays, but they did enough on offense in the pass game, and we know they can be explosive in moments, and they just kind of leaned on the run game. Antonio Gibson had himself a game. Brian Robinson was solid. Defense played well, and now they have Chase Young coming back. If you flip it to the Atlanta Falcons, they just found a way to win. I expected Cordero Patterson to do a little bit more on offense, but then he returns the kick for a touchdown, and the defense steps up when they need to in order to secure a win. So when you spin it together where both of these teams are fighting for their playoff lives and still really in competitive divisions, I look for this to be a low-scoring affair. I look at the game with the Falcons where they scored 37 total points against the Chargers. They have 40 points in that second matchup against the Carolina Panthers, and I expected to follow this theme here in this game as well. I believe when I first looked at it, it was around a total of 42. Feel more comfortable going under on that. I think it's at 41 now. I would still lean more under the 41 than anything else. And as far as who's going to win this game, I think with both teams fighting for their playoff lives, I'm not willing to lay any money on whether Washington can, cover at -4.5 or put on Atlanta. If anything, maybe it's like leaning towards Atlanta at +4.5. But I think I feel a little bit better about the total.
Yeah, I could see that absolutely happening because Atlanta has looked really great against the run this season, Jared, allowing 4.4 yards per carry. Well, Washington's offense with Taylor Heinicke, because they're not trusting him as much to throw the ball, they've been rushing a little under 60% of their plays. I feel like this is a spot where Atlanta can kind of limit the Commanders' run game, don't you think?
Yeah, and Heinicke's numbers haven't been great, since he took over in week 7, 23rd in EPA plus CPOE. So despite the fact that they're winning games, which I guess, ask Zach Wilson, the only thing that matters as a quarterback, right? Winning games. They're winning games, but Taylor's play hasn't been great. And when you look at that game against the Texans, it was actually Brian Robinson was the highest graded offensive player according to PFF. So you're starting to see an identity, and you're starting to see their offensive line play a little bit better. And defensively, Chase Young coming back makes another wrinkle here to this Washington defense. That's where the disparity is in this game. It's the Atlanta defense, which is a bottom 5 unit, and the Washington defense, which is kind of a top 10 unit, top 10 against the run. And that's important because the Falcons' 4th most rush attempts in the league, 2nd fewest pass attempts. So what Atlanta does well offensively, that's what Washington also does well, kind of strength on strength there. And the Kyle Pitts injury, listen, I know they haven't used him a lot this year, but it does make their offense a little less explosive. You still have to plan for him, and he plays such a unique position, inline tight end, likes to, go out and run, maybe, split him out wide. That's a tough matchup. So you take him off the field, it makes this Atlanta offense a little more pedestrian. So the line movement here off of 3 now to 4.5 makes me not as bullish on betting Washington. I like Tank's Tank on the under here. I think both teams are going to run the ball. I think that's what the vibe of this game feels like. And I'm seeing some totals for Atlanta in the teens based off of some of the algorithms I'm looking at. So I could absolutely see this one being like 21-17, and that would comfortably stay under 42.